Right. Hey, good morning, everyone. We're going to go ahead and call this Town of Star Valley Ranch work session to order. It is 10:04 a.m. and we do have all council members in attendance. Councilman Merrill is on Zoom. And let the record reflect that we also have Town Administrator Aiken, Building Official Kazir, and Town Clerk Hurd. Can I get a motion to approve the agenda?
I motion we approve the agenda.
Okay, it's been moved by Councilman Bitter. Is there a second? Second. Seconded by Councilman Toolson. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Okay. Getting right into it. First item on the agenda, discussion items, is the administrator's update. Mr. Aiken.
All right, so what we're working on this week, we had a contractor come in and help us with the prep work for Plat 5. They got that done yesterday, just doing the grading and the roller down there, because we've got a lot going on, a little money left over, so we just had them get that ready for chip seal. Our plan is to get tar ordered either today or tomorrow and have it here by Monday, hopefully, and by Tuesday, one way or another, we're going to start the chip seal projects, starting with Vista, and moving, we do later on Vista, but it's do later on Plat 21, come back to third layer Vista, third layer Plat 21, and then move on to Plat 5. So obviously today, weather's still an issue. I mean, it's going to be a little cold today, a lot of rain. We don't see anything in the forecast, but that can change. Our Green Canyon tank lining on the outside will start on Monday. I think Monday's the 15th, but it'll start on Monday. Should be done by Thursday or Friday, and we'll get that punched off the list if all goes well there. And just getting back to the council on the question from our last work session about Green Canyon. So if we want to put some rock on there and make that road look a little better, I can break this down, but roughly it costs about $8,000. It's not widening the road, it's not fixing any long-term problems, but that would take care and stabilize the road. Weed spraying, Swadham will be here either Friday or Monday to start the weed spraying. We did send out if you don't want your property sprayed, please let us know. And it wasn't even 30 seconds later, all the phones were lit up, so people paid attention to that one. There's a lot of people saying don't spray my area, but we'll keep a list going there. Our water samples came back with our pH levels. We had a discussion about chlorine. They were between a 7.6 to a 7.8 on the pH level, which is, it's a little high. If we were at an 8, they would recommend something different. They looked at that, analyzed the water, the hardness of it, and made a recommendation on chlorine pumps, and we looked at them and they did not actually fit for the PSI levels we have at our well houses. So we had to send that back to the company, rediscuss it, and we're waiting for a round 2 of these are the pumps that will work best for you, but that's where we're at on that problem. So Scott's got all of our SCADA tags up and running throughout the system. It was completely the firmware update that caused us problems there. But Scott didn't just throw his hands in the air and quit, because he put a lot of effort into this, and so did the water department, but it's been a lot of work there. All the tags are working correctly, and if I understand this right, the person we were trying to get a motherboard for well 3 to fix that issue no longer works for the company, and the order that went in just sat there. So Scott ran somebody else down, and I think they're in the mail, and they should be here shortly. So we'll get to that reading issue at well 3. To talk about grants. We're still waiting to hear on the build grant. Now, the good news is that the state has responded with, they've approved 3 of the grants we sent in for our matching funds. But we don't get any of that money if we don't get the build grant. It's attached, it's our 20% match.
Okay.
That was done very well. I mean, the state, within 2 hours of sending them in, was calling me, and we've had great conversations, great resources there, but we do have the 20% matches in place if the big grant comes through. So we got about 2 weeks to wait, and we're still, I check my email 20 times a day, but nothing yet. We're.
How soon can we start spending that money if we grant it?
July 1st. It's a reimbursement grant.
Okay, so we
So-
would spend immediately and they would reimburse us, yeah?
Yeah, we-
Like the other,
Give the receipts.
and it's not like we have to wait a while, it's go. Okay.
Yeah, unless there's additional, let me throw that out there. Maybe there's some strings attached I haven't read yet, but it should be July 1st. They also, the state approved matching funds for the Water Smart grant too, if that one comes through, but that's to update the pressure relief valves and get them on SCADA. We're gonna get out an advertisement for another SMO position, and I'm open to having somebody for the summer, or if we had a second SMO full-time, so it's kind of open. We've talked to several people. I haven't made a lot of progress there, but we're working on that.
So Jacob from last summer is not going
He's
to return?
they're not in the area. They were here
Oh,
a week
okay.
ago if anybody saw them, but they're not.
Not here all summer? so-
Yes.
Gotcha, okay.
So I wish, I mean, he was great. And one final thing to note that we're looking into, so it's not the end of the world here, but Krista Bodley that does our mail contract, met with the mayor and I yesterday. He wanted to give us an update, and it wasn't what I was expecting, but the Postal Service has realized that the way the mail is delivered here is possibly not correct. And what I mean by that is Krista's contract looks like she's only supposed to take the mail from Thane to Star Valley Ranch, and she is not supposed to be the one that puts letters and packages in people's mailboxes. And the Thane post office may not be allowed to deliver packages. So what that could possibly mean, now possibly could, pay attention to those words, because we're gonna meet with the postmistress in Thane and get a better answer here, but it might mean that we're required to do delivery because we own the building here and the post office boxes. That's kind of the disaster today for me to work on.
Yeah, so I guess, as Trevor said, this was not what we thought the conversation with her was going to be yesterday, and I have a million questions. And so does Trevor, and that's why we're going to meet with the postmaster and try and get to ground truth here. For the past, I don't know, since the town's been a town and since we had a mail center, at least for the past dozen years, which is how long Krista has had the contract, this is how the mail has been done here. So let's just say I'm a little skeptical of why suddenly we can't do it this way anymore. However, we will figure out what the real answers are, and if we need to make some changes, then we will have to make some changes.
There's a couple options we're looking at that we need some more, because we had questions, what does this designation mean versus that, and Krista wasn't able to explain.
Right.
So we're looking at it, and maybe just scared for nothing, I don't know.
Yeah.
Is that because we're all part of the same zip code, potentially?
That's part of it. The other part, I think, that we took away from yesterday after talking with her is that, so our little downstairs mail center is, in essence, a private mailbox facility.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
not a US Post Office facility, right? And we're not designated as what they call a RMPO, Remote Post Office Location, which again would be under the post office. So there's some complication there, it sounds like, that's contractually might be a problem for her, even though it wasn't pointed out. And the other part of it was apparently someone in the Denver regional office, which is where all our mail is, I don't know, managed out of or governed out of, is the one that brought this up suddenly. So,
I don't know why we've been
again,
okay for 20 years.
Yeah.
I don't know. So we've got more questions than answers at the moment, but I just wanted to throw out
this
the very little I
it
know.
could be something that is from a budget standpoint, we might, if we find we need to do something there, we might have to come back and look at it. But we don't know what that is right now, so we
Yeah,
can't
okay.
do anything.
So, we've been going after our own zip code for a long time.
Yes.
The postmistress was opposed to that. Is she still opposed, or do we even know?
Well, I only spoke with her once, and she just wasn't able to offer a lot of assistance. I would like to kind of ask some questions of former Mayor Sidaway, just from a standpoint of how things were set up, because originally, I know there were attempts in the past to get her own zip code, but that ultimately we ended up falling under the Thane Post Office for whatever reason. Getting our own zip code might be part of a solution for this new potential issue, if it is actually an issue, but, and the town, we did get included in the bill, the consolidated zip codes for small towns that is working its way through Congress right now, so we are on the list, but I don't know when action will happen on that, so.
And we're working on Firewise stuff this week, obviously, so. Any questions about anything?
Anything for Trevor? Okay, all right, thank you. We'll keep everyone posted on the post office situation, if there is one. Okay, next item on the agenda are financials.
I can just see us all coming down and saying, everybody grab a stack and sort.
That's right,
Fine.
yes. Let's get it
Yeah.
figured out here.
Okay.
So Councilman Bitter,
Yeah.
with Retta out
Yeah, I'll go.
working, I think you were gonna run through the financials?
Yeah, just May results. For the general fund, our revenue year-to-date, these are all year-to-date numbers because monthly doesn't really matter at this point in time. Revenue is almost 2.5 million, or $18,000 lower than budget. That reduction is due to the fifth penny being slightly lower and lower interest earned on our cash reserves. Expenses for general fund were right at $2 million or $68,000 lower than budget, so that makes up the revenue shortfall. And capital spend is $747,000 year-to-date, or $400,000 lower than budget. That's mostly due to the delayed paving projects that are happening now, here in June. Cash balance for general fund is sitting at 1.9 million, or $531,000 higher than budget, which is due to the delayed capital projects. On the water side, revenue is $1.9 million year-to-date, or $200,000 higher than budget. Most of that is the grant money that we did not realize was coming in of $175,000 at the beginning of the calendar year. We didn't budget for that. And additional tap-ons that we got through the construction phases that are going on with houses. Expenses are 1.6 million, or $6,000 lower than budget. So again, they're spending less than what we had budgeted, capital, but very, very close. Capital spending is 1.8 million year-to-date, and that's $700,000 lower than budget, which is due to the delayed residential meters and delayed spend on the Prater Canyon delivery line. Cash balance is sitting at just under 2.2 million for the water fund, which is $550,000 higher. Again, that's all related mostly to the higher the spending on capital that hasn't occurred. So, Town of Star Valley Ranch total cash balance is sitting just over $4 million, which is almost 1.1 million higher than what we had budgeted. And just as a note, the state had told us to forecast an 8% decline in both fifth penny and sales tax. At this point in time, sales tax is actually higher than what we budget, meaning it's actually higher than, we didn't agree with the 8%, so we just left it flat. And so we're actually higher than than what we had budgeted. And on the fifth penny, it's down only 2%. So, their forecasting is as good as anybody else's, basically. So we're doing well on all fronts, spending less, and revenue has been up this year. So that's it. But you guys have the files.
Yes.
If you have any questions on any line items, let us know. Okay?
Any questions on the financials for May?
Did you want to go over the,
Do you want to do the appropriations now?
Yeah, that's next up on the
Yeah, okay.
agenda if you're
Well,
ready.
nobody has any questions.
Yeah, but on
Don't you have questions?
financials.
Come on. Okay, well, all right, so the town budget, we have put together, we have sent out a third reading. That third reading, I don't know if you want to pull it up, or if you can. If not, that's fine. However, in talking to our CPA auditor, he has suggested that this year we adjust here at the very end for anything that is going to be carryover because we were not able to spend it on the capital side. So there are two projects that we will be carrying over that we had not planned on carrying over, meaning the cash. It was already appropriated and authorized in this year's budget, but we're not going to spend it until next year. We're not going to spend it this month, basically. And so there's two projects that we are looking at. And I don't know if, let's see, let me pull it up. One is the Crater Canyon delivery line, and we're gonna move that money that's we were hoping to spend now, we're just gonna move it in the next few months, July, August, and September. And that was $352,000, if I'm not mistaken. Let me look at it here real quick. And on the, so what we have done is if you go through the new ordinance, there's a third reading column that shows the changes that we made from reading 2. But then there's a carryover adjusted column now for those two items. And the one is the $150,000 for road improvements that we believe are going to carry over into July. That we have authorized and approved, and we're just not going to get to them until July. That's $150,000 on road improvements, and there is an additional $352,000 on the Crater Canyon delivery line. So that's a carryover. So there's nothing that's going to impact our balances. Cash balances, reserves, everything stays in place, but these two projects now are going to be moving into the spend category in 2027, not in the 2026 that we're currently in.
Question on the Crater Canyon piece. There were two parts, if I remember correctly, that were going on that. One was Sherwood doing the layout. or
Surveying,
Surveying?
which I believe that's already done.
That's done and that's been paid for.
Yep.
So the other part was Ryan's doing the engineering of the line.
Yes.
When will that be done?
Very soon. Ryan should be here this next week to the tank lining. Ryan, every time I talk, he's real close to having it finished. I think there's just a few finishing touches on it, so this month, just.
So there is a possibility that we'll spend all that money this month?
Not 350.
Yeah, the bill will come in this month and have to be paid next month.
Anything that is dated, in June will go into this year's budget, but.
If the work was completed,
Yeah.
then we can go ahead and make the payment.
So,
Yeah.
Councilman Better, did you say there was because I was looking at the third reading version and then the third reading Excel file.
Yes.
Did you say there was somewhere it's annotated where the carryover is feeding in?
Well, it's down in the sources and uses and in the capital. So
Okay.
if you go down, there's nothing, no expenses, no revenue changes. It's just moving cash from one year to the next year. So if you go down into the water fund sources, you'll see the Crater Canyon.
You're looking
delivery
at
line.
different pieces. She's in the Excel file.
Oh.
Yeah, where are you?
Okay, go,
Sorry, are you the Word file?
yes,
Okay,
but you can go to the, I mean, it's the same thing.
okay, I'm down to water fund sources and uses on the Word file, I see now.
Yeah, so anything in blue is the added, and instead of combining it into the water systems reserve, I just put it as a new separate line so that we can clearly see the adjusted amount that we're carrying across.
Did you say Purdue?
Yeah, isn't it in blue on your screen?
Maybe I'm looking at old versions. Sorry, it's very possible.
Well,
Oh, then yes, I'm definitely looking at the wrong one.
yeah, I just did it yesterday.
I got it, now I see it, I apologize.
So, and now you can kind of see, but again, it's only affecting cash and spend from the reserve standpoint.
I am caught up now, thank you.
Okay, there you go. So water fund has one project and general fund has one project.
Okay.
So it's basically, we did not want to have a $500,000 overspend in our current budget. So we're moving that spending on those two projects into the right year. Timing. So that's the ordinance, and so it's presented differently than what we've presented before. And so I would like a motion that we vote on this version, or at least understand this tonight, so that when we do the third reading, there's a third reading adjusted column for carryover. Okay?
I move that we go ahead and accept the third reading version as just presented.
Second. There's been a motion and a second to accept the adjusted carryover third reading version of the ordinance. So any other questions or discussion from the council? Okay?
I have a question. Why are we making a motion during a workshop about this?
Because we're making a change we're amending basically the third reading to include the carryover.
So the public has not seen this version? And that was what our Wade Hershey had told us was more than appropriate. It's what all the towns do.
Yes.
So we're just following his direction.
Yeah.
On,
Why
for
do we
the
need to
carry,
make a motion about it, though?
well,
So that, for the council to agree that we're going to move forward with this third reading version tonight.
the adjusted
The adjusted, yes.
third reading.
Because Robert's rules in workshops, it's not always necessary to be, well, and it's not really good practice to be voting in workshops, so that's why I just want to make sure that we're following appropriate rules and not doing excessive if we don't need to. And,
Well- I guess again, tonight, if we were to vote, we're voting on this adjusted
Version.
carryover version. So we would do the motion will be tonight to vote. Because
so we don't need to vote today, or during our workshop.
I think I'd just like to codify that the council is going to agree that we're all right with showing the third reading with the adjusted carryover
Okay,
version.
okay, yeah.
We have a motion and a second on the table, so. So if there's not any other discussion, all in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Staying.
All right, so we're going to go ahead and move this carryover version forward for tonight.
Okay.
One second. All righty. Anything else on the budget? Okay, thank you for all the work on this.
It's a wonderful
Councilman
3 months,
Better.
3.5 months, sorry.
Thank you for the council too on all the discussion.
Let's try this baby again.
Okay, next item on the agenda is the building officials report. Mr. Kazir.
Well, good morning, everyone. This is your up-to-date building activity report. For this month, we have 4 new single-family resident permits. We have 1 additional structural modification permit. We've got 9 water tap applications and permits, 13 driveway applications in. For a total, as of through May, we have 9 single-family resident permits issued, 4 garages, 3 remodel or structural modifications, 3 decks, and 3 fences. And so in comparison to last year, we're 2 single-family resident permits short of last year to date. So, but I've still got 3 in the queue down below, waiting on paperwork or engineering. So I actually think we're going to be probably exceeding last year's by the end of the month.
So when you compare last year, when you state last year, you're comparing the fiscal years, right?
Yeah.
July 1st
To
through
date.
June 30th, so
Yes.
we're basically the same, which was a high number the year before.
Yeah, the year before, we had a total of 17. So it's really, I think we're pretty neck to neck compared to last year, so, but we have a lot going on. There's a lot of people buying lots, and there's a lot of people trying to get their plans in, so I think it's going to be an extremely busy year despite the economy. I think things are definitely picking up. There's lots of hot commodity out here these days.
Did you say you had 3 sort of pending, single-family ones?
Yes.
Okay.
And we're working on a structural modification on the house on Cedar that burnt. So
Oh, yeah.
working with the insurance company, they're going to be pulling a permit to do the demo. So that's another additional permit we're working on. So when we went up there and physically looked at the building, the Trevor and the engineer, and they're going to have to bring it all the way down to the foundation.
Oh, wow, yeah.
And we couldn't even find the septic in the back, so there's a lot of work there to do. So the adjuster is trying to get the contractor rolling on that. So as soon as they give us some more additional paperwork, we'll be able to get that permitted as well. But that's all I've got today. So
Any questions for Mr. Kazir? I misspoke during coffee with the mayor. For some reason, I had 14 single-family home permits stuck in my head for so far this year, but looks like looking at 12 already, so
if you count, yeah.
if you count the 3, yeah. Okay.
I
Okay?
did have a question regarding the septic. I know we'll probably go over it when the ordinances come up, but since Scott's here. So I was led to understand that they weren't checking our septics. But I found out that they actually have 2 people that go out weekly and check the septics from the county. So I'm trying to understand exactly why we're taking that on as a town.
So, I'm going to comment here. There are 2 people that do, and what they've done in the past is it's more of they're checking the location. They're not actually inspecting how the slope of the tank, the pipes, how it's backfilled and how it's
Installation.
prepped. So different type of inspection. And we decided as a town that given all the conversations about septics and wells and effluent and all those things, that it was in our best interest to step up what we do and to require something higher, I guess, as far as to protect our watershed is what all these conversations have been, so.
Well, they are trained to do all that we're doing.
They attended the same classes that our personnel attended. And I
So
don't.
they are, I'm not understanding where we're getting that they're not checking measurements and slopes and such when they're going on a job site and checking that. I just want to make sure we're not taking on undue risk as a town that we don't need to, especially if the people that we have trained, which is Scott, and who else is trained in that?
Quentin,
So we have 2 people, but, I just don't know that we need to take that on as a town if there's already people in the county that are doing it.
The county is very slow. I can speak firsthand. Last year, we tried to get a septic permit from the county. There was a problem, and they had to come out twice with people that did not understand the topography or the circumstances of our lots here in the city. So I can speak firsthand. It wasn't efficient, it was very slow, and it just it delayed significant time on the project.
Your project. Okay, and nothing against you, but it's like, if it's delayed because there's issues with the project.
No, it's not the
that is-
project.
Oh.
Yeah, but it wasn't the project, it was them delaying getting to the town.
Because I was told they're coming and visiting sites weekly within the community.
In the community, sometimes.
Well, this is their only job, it sounds like, is to be checking these, so it sounds to me that they're actually coming out weekly to any, job sites that are requiring it. So I understand, it's probably not like they're there the very next day if there is an issue. But I just want to make sure that we're not taking on undue risk of the town just because I was originally told that it was because we didn't have anyone in place in the county to do this, and that they weren't coming out to check. And
That's
now
not-
I'm finding out from the county that Missy and Lydia are coming out weekly to sites to make sure they're meeting criteria that we also are trying to put on our employees.
Have you seen the checklist on the criteria? that the county uses?
It's-
I didn't ask for the checklist. I'm assuming, did you see it, Kayla?
Nope, I haven't asked for it.
But I've seen it.
So I haven't seen it either. I'm assuming that they're not doing any less than what we would require. That's why I'm asking. I was misled that it was previously because they didn't have anyone that was coming
I
out.
don't-
I'm finding out now that they do.
Councilman Merrill, I don't ever recall us saying the county did not have anyone that could do inspections. It was that they had
They can.
limited ability to do inspections, and that because the town wanted to implement enhanced septic systems being installed, that we also had the opportunity to go ahead and take over the full inspection of the septic installation process.
Which most towns handle themselves.
Right. And it's more efficient.
Why would most towns do it themselves?
Because most towns inspect their own septic. So any town jurisdiction should cover their own area.
Yeah, so I mean,
Why is the county doing that?
Because that's all there was before.
Yeah.
We didn't have a town back in the day. So we are stepping up and we're trying to improve to an advanced system so we can mitigate all the septics that are going in here and we can hopefully minimize any type of, contamination. That's what we're trying to achieve
I was
here.
under the impression after I spoke with the county that they're the ones doing that. So I just
To
didn't
an
know. I
extent,
thought
to an extent, they went to the same class we did, okay? So, you got Lydia and Misty, okay, covering the whole area. So there's a backlog of septics, people are waiting. There's, we're trying to be more efficient and step up the whole process for our town. That's the whole reason behind this.
is to step it up for our town.
Yes.
Better service for the residents.
And to an advanced system, so we don't have to deal with any type of contamination in the future. Whereas in the past, I've heard a lot of different stories. I mean, the county has a lot of area to cover. So we're just trying to make sure our town is
And they don't know our geology either.
or topography.
Does the county require an advanced septic system
They are
countywide?
pushing what they call a Presby system, which we're calling an advanced system.
Yeah. Yeah.
But they're pushing it, but they don't have it required yet.
No, they are required.
yeah.
Okay.
So, and we're gonna step up the same, to an advanced system. So, and, we wanna try to mitigate the type of people that are installing these septics, so we wanna know that they're qualified as well. So, we're gonna have that process amplified as well. So we know whoever's installing our septic systems knows what they're doing. And it's not just some contractor out there that's doing the excavating, throwing it in, because that's what's been happening.
Is that in I don't recall reading that in there, that we have to have a certain person.
It's in our
Install.
town ordinances. We require the contractors to register.
To insert the septic.
So we want qualified people installing these septic systems. That's what we're trying to monitor here. This is why we're doing this. So we can make sure that there is not going to be any issues in the future with contamination and these installations are done properly and up to code. That's why we're stepping this up and that's why we're trying to take this on.
So what qualifications are we requiring our contractors to have to insert the septic?
There are licensed contractors for septic systems. So, and there's,
Require them to do it now, not just a regular, so the contractors are gonna have to subcontract out someone that specializes in putting the septic in?
yes, that has some sort of certs to back up the
I mean,
installation.
and that goes along with the enhanced septic
It
or
does.
advanced septic system installation. Some of them are gonna have to be engineered depending on where it's installed in town because of the geology.
So I didn't read that in our ordinance, that was a requirement. Is it just a requirement for these septics?
No, we're trying to implement this requirement so we can, in the future, keep and monitor, people that are installing these. Because right now, the homeowner can pretty much install their own septic.
All right. I didn't realize we were taking all this on as a town as far as it even like making sure qualification. I mean, I saw somebody put in a driveway the other day that I don't know if they were qualified. So I'm just trying to make sure that as a town, we're not taking on undue risk when the county's been doing it and actually has people in place to do it. And I'm happy for us to have better septic systems and everything installed. I just want to make sure that we're actually going to be qualified ourselves to make sure that this is all going on, because this doesn't seem like it would be easier on a resident, as was stated as well.
It's not easy.
So,
It's more, it's a more thorough review that you're gonna get with the town than you would with the county.
Yes.
The county, it's literally, they come out, they look at the topography, they look at the hole in the ground, they see if there's any clay that would distinguish between water seepage or not, they see if there's any groundwater issues that are going to flow into any kind of residual lines, that's it. They don't really look at the system itself, which is sad. And that's why, again, bringing that into the town.
And I've never seen the county show up for a perk test either.
Correct. Not show up for the perk test. They'll
They just
ask
write-
what it is, but that's it.
You can write down whatever you want.
Yeah. So anyway, I think it's a good move for the town because again, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to be able to do this.
No.
it does take the certification, so I just want to make sure that we're
Yes.
covering that way too. It just sounds like the county should, I mean, they're saying they have it covered, so I just didn't know why we were taking it on as a town.
County says,
So,
Yeah, yeah. Okay.
thanks, Scott.
You bet.
Alrighty. Next item on the agenda is ordinance 2026-06. I think this is leading into the additional discussion about the septics. Hold on a second. Yes, okay, so we tabled this ordinance at our last meeting. Wait, is this the right one? 06, I'm on 04. Hang on a second. There we go. This is the fence ordinance, right?
Yeah, that's what it is.
Okay, sorry. So yeah, on our agenda, it says 2026-06, second reading, but I think it'd be the first reading, right?
No. It would be the second.
For the fences?
I think we
Yes.
approved it once and
Did we?
then
Okay.
tabled it, yeah.
The table.
I'll make sure that's right. We did table it,
We have second reading.
but I thought we tabled the first reading. Anyway, we'll get that sorted out. So we're going to talk about the fence ordinance right now. So there were, the updated version of this was sent out after we talked about it last time and tabled it at our meeting. We did include a couple of the additional items that align with the Star Valley Ranch Association's fence regulation as far as how far the fence can extend out from the home. We also still included the setback that we had originally included, which was 30 feet from the property line. So I think there's probably still some work to do on this ordinance, but how is the council feeling about moving it forward tonight and making additional adjustments as we go? Or should we get it straight now and read it next month?
That's what.
I'm for the
She said that's what
latter.
you think?
I think we're still working on that.
Yeah, I think we are too. Councilman Ellis?
No, I was just gonna say, there's a difference in there because you're talking about the fence height in one spot, and then you're showing in wildlife friendly in another spot, and they're not consistent in terms of heights between the two.
So I feel like it's better than it was last time we tabled it, but I'm just still not, I don't think we're there yet.
Has this gone to the HOA yet?
I think Carolyn probably has some more input on that. 'Cause,
Okay.
yes, we had a,
That's right, you guys sat down
Yeah.
and reviewed.
I think they should, they prefer no fences, so that they wanted to go back to the 12 feet from the back of the house. So, you know, compared to what we were allowing previously, which is the 30-foot from the property line.
On the
So,
golf course side.
yes, this only pertains to the golf course, basically. So it'd be, case-by-case scenario for new single-family residents building on the golf course. I think we just need to tweak it a little bit more. We need to confirm with the association that they're, content with, how we end up deciding on which route to go, the 12 or the 30. So, in the past, we've been going the 30-foot setback for the fence. So,
So how's the rest of the council on this one if we punt on it for one more month to try and get it settled? And then also make sure that we sit down again with the association and go, this is the one we're going to go forward with, and make sure there's not any, well, I think we've incorporated some of their concerns from before, but again, I think we do have some discrepancies with the wildlife fencing language. I'd like to, if we're going to include these diagrams or the examples of the fencing, maybe we can work on that a little bit too. So, Councilman Toolson, do you have any thoughts on this one? Someone,
No, I mean, we put in what they requested.
right.
I guess we need to sit down with them again before our next reading.
Yeah.
It's probably,
Just to tidy it up a little more, I think, and make sure we are a little more specific on the wildlife-friendly fencing. Again, because there is that height discrepancy in what's considered wildlife-friendly versus what our town is saying, so as far as height. So maybe we can figure out how to say that better. Okay, all right, so for tonight, we'll table this one again. And I just want to confirm 2026-06 would be first or second meeting tonight. Okay. Because the document I'm looking at says first reading on the top right corner, but. Okay. Okay. All right, so then we're going to move on to the septic ordinance, which kind of follows on to the discussion from before. So the first thing I want to point out before I forget is the copy of the septic permit application that was also sent out. Says $450 for the fee, and I think we decided on $350. right?
350.
I didn't see anything else on the application that looked like it needed to be corrected, other than that fee is listed in 2 different places, so. if you guys fix
I've
that.
made some changes on it, just a couple.
Okay.
So, I'm going to say enhance instead of enhance.
Okay,
I'd like to change the 24 to 48 hours in advance.
okay, yeah.
I think Jamie's done a good job of this.
Yeah, I read through it, it looked pretty thorough. So it looks like that's pretty close. And then on the septic ordinance itself, here we go. No, it's- there we go. Okay, so we have 2 we're dealing with, right? We tabled the last one, at the last meeting, I should say, because we wanted to kind of try and catch this one up to the other one and pass them both at the same time. So just to back up, the one we tabled was 2026-04, second reading, and it was just updating the personal utilities section of the ordinances 154.080 and changing the language in paragraph C to basically say that it's the town that's going to be doing this versus the county. So that was kind of a minor update, really. But the bigger part is the other section of the septic ordinance that was sent out. And I think this is from me, so I want to hear what the rest of the council has to say. I think the content is fine, but I'm not sure that the code section where it's recommending it be inserted is correct. I think, because right now it says Title 15 Land Uses, Chapter 152 Subdivisions. And there is a section in that code in 15204 that does talk about septic and sewer requirements for subdivisions. But I think that this probably still needs to go back to the previous section under personal utilities. But looking for any feedback there. Just, to me, the subdivision part is sort of all bucketed in there with the annexation requirements and things like that. I mean, it could still refer to specific septic requirements or regulations, but I'm concerned that it might get lost if we put all of these specifics on how septics have to be installed and permitted, if we put it in subdivisions, not in personal utilities.
You're back to the issue that was discussed at that I heard in the...
Yeah,
Technically, Star Valley Ranch is a subdivision.
yes.
So where should this actually be? If not in, maybe in both,
Maybe in both.
because it's a definitional piece. Subdivision if we annex it, but we are a subdivision, so it should be for all single-family homes within the town, since there's no revenue in this place.
Well said.
Can you put it in both? Or why couldn't you put it in both? Because if you're gonna do a search for it, some people will look under utilities, some people will look potentially under subdivision. So is there something wrong with that?
Not really.
No.
I mean, it's the same ordinance, but you could just have two titles under it.
Yeah, I think, and at least in my head, it makes more sense to put the specifics under personal utilities, but still refer to the specifics in the subdivision ordinance, like refer it to the other section.
Okay.
Because they're all personal utilities, whether they're in a new subdivision or
Right,
a
Do
current
that
one,
then,
right?
yeah.
Yeah, so you put it in personal utilities and then in the subdivision refer
Refer back to it,
Yes.
yes, and make any edits in that subdivision ordinance that are needed to make sure it doesn't contradict.
Yes.
Because there were some parts in the subdivision that still talk about the county and et cetera, et cetera.
Makes sense.
That's much
Yes.
better.
So, but did anyone have any thoughts on the content? I mean, I read through it, and some of it's pretty, detailed, and I know, I'm pretty sure Scott had something to do with some of the content, because it's pretty detailed. But I didn't see anything that jumped out at me that didn't seem correct. I mean, it's got, again, a lot of detail. And even, is there a drawing somewhere? No, I must have been looking at something else. Okay. So was this posted? This wasn't posted, right?
No, because I
Okay.
haven't actually assigned a number.
Okay.
It's more for your guys' review to do exactly.
Right,
what
to
we're
do what we're doing right now. Okay, so,
But I do have a question.
yes.
So just, I don't see here anywhere that we are requiring that they are certified to install in this section. And I'm wondering, do we want to add that?
We
Make
do,
sure?
we want to have that.
Okay, then that would be
Because
just to be
I don't see
specific.
it, but I'm just briefly reading through it real quick.
Good catch, Jim.
I saw that too. So one of the other things we just may want to, like, as currently written, paragraph B, toward the bottom part of that, it says, in the case of a development plan that includes a high-density zone, MR1 or MR2, blah, blah, blah. And the planning commission is currently kicking around removing multifamily zones from code. So maybe we just don't want to, we might want to work on that language a little bit, just so we're not going to have to turn around and fix something if the planning commission recommends and the council accepts that we make a change to the zoning code as well. But that is something I noticed too. Okay, and then what else did I have in here? So that was really my only big thing, was I think maybe the way, where we put it and then how we refer to it in other parts of our code. We need to look at that, and then maybe we look at revising the language on the zoning piece, and then be specific about the certification, if we need to do that. So I think we can get all of that fixed up for July, right? And then we can resurrect the other ordinance that we tabled last time. And is that one on for tonight too, or not?
Yes.
Okay, so
We
we'll have to
tabled it
table
for
it again.
June, yeah.
A couple of times tabling. Maybe we'll table it to like August. Then we can play catch up on all of them. Okay. All right, any other comments on the septic, the draft septic ordinance, the one with all the details in it? All righty. Moving on to board reports. Councilman Merrill, Finance Advisory Board, have they met?
It takes me a second to find the button to unmute. No, they still have not met. And if the council has anything that they want to meet on, definitely let us know, because I think that's kind of what they're waiting on. I mean, if there's something urgent, obviously, they're all in town now, so it'd be easier to get them together, but,
Okay.
overall, I don't think they have anything they're really discussing, so that's why they haven't been meeting.
Okay, thank you. Natural Resources Board, Councilman Toolson.
Thank you tomorrow. I know that, I think they're doing an impromptu meeting. I can't meet with them tomorrow, but Arbor Day is Saturday, starting at 9. So I know that they're gearing up for that.
And then is the garage sale July? I'm trying to remember the date.
There was a sale
It's earlier, I think it's 1 week earlier.
last weekend.
I think it's a week after the 4th of July, that next week.
Is
Oh,
it?
they-
Okay, so
they
it's
moved
next
it
week.
later this year.
There we go.
I
Okay.
think they drop off at like the 9th.
Okay.
The week of the 9th, 10th, 11th.
Okay. Okay, so yes, Arbor Day this weekend, and then there's sale next month. Is there anything or something? Okay. Oh, just getting confused and whatever that noise is. Okay. All right, thank you. Planning Commission met on the, I think it was the 26th, sorry, 27th. And it was a pretty short meeting. We just talked some more about the changes, pending changes the commission may want to make to the zoning code. A little bit of an update on the master plan, shifting the timeline out a few months. And I think that was pretty much it. It was not a very lengthy meeting, and tomorrow night's agenda is going to be along the same lines, because we don't have any plat amendments or variances or things to consider. Okay, Roads Advisory Board, Councilman Ellis.
Yeah, the Roads Advisory Board started off with a discussion on the recommendation that they made to move the $500,000 in next year's budget into road base, and they still wanted to emphasize that that was what they would like to see. They also developed 3 rating scales for the roads within the town, one for aggregate, one for chip seal, and one for asphalt roads. We can see the condition of the roads and rate the road where they are in the scales. Then the last thing that was developed was the rating of the roads was going to be a joint effort between the Public Works crew and the Roads Board.
Okay. Thank you.
I'm sorry, what was that last part about prioritizing what? With the Public Works and the Road Board?
The rating of the roads within the town based upon the scales that they presented and were sent out was going to be dealt with as a joint project between the Roads Board and Public Works.
Okay, so even though the roads were prioritized, who were they prioritized by then? 'Cause-
This is rating the condition of the road, not priority, rating the condition of the road.
Okay, so who prioritized the road list that we got?
That was done by the roads board based upon the use of the roads with the arterial collector and local. Emphasis being placed upon arterial roads.
So we're talking about the maintenance part, right? The road maintenance? Because when I went back, I didn't see that it was actually prioritized by road, or like arterial roads.
So you,
And they didn't have Green Canyon on there either, so I wanted to clarify where they were getting that, because I didn't see that when I went back over the road board study and tried to compare it to the prioritization list. And I'm fine if they went off of what they saw, I just didn't know, so I was trying to clarify.
there's two different lists we're talking about here, and I think that's where the confusion is. The road
Okay.
board went through and prioritized, these are the most heavily traveled roads. There's a list of there, which was excellent, I appreciate the work they put in there. And then Zach and I went through and got a list for recommendations on where we were with conditions and what we recommend for next year. So two different lists.
Okay, so the list that we got that we're gonna do maintenance on, and that we are putting into our budget is the top 10. Who decided that prioritization list? Was that you and Zach?
Yes.
Okay. And so was that off of what the recommendations were from the road board? And what you guys see like most needed?
No, there were a lot of conversations that were had with the council on this, that, and the other, and there was another list wanted with what we could do with money for the next year. It went back and forth between, should we put rock on all the roads, should we do some chip seal and some rock? So we went through roads and the conditions they were in with what money we anticipate we would have left over and where we could do the most good, so.
And as part of that spreadsheet that was sent out with the budget recommendations and the prioritizations, I mean, there's a tab in there that has the roads board's data and recommendations where they went through as far as classification of the roads and what the surface was and what the comments were on what they thought, their opinion after touring the roads or what they've seen needed to get done, like whether it was asphalt maintenance or when the last maintenance layer was done. So that, all had to factor in to the ultimate priority list that was arrived at. And so it's not like a one list decided by Public Works or one list decided by the roads board. It was taking the information and coming up with what made the most sense that would benefit the most residents that use roads in the town based on the funding that we have.
That's why I'm asking, because I just noticed like not having Green Canyon on there and then a few of the prioritizations. I just wanted to clarify where they were at and how they were coming about. So I didn't know what was all going into it, so that's why I was asking.
Okay?
Can I just, is the road board on the same page? I don't think anybody's here.
Yeah.
Oh, Lee's here.
Yeah.
I mean, are we good? Because I've had a discussion with somebody else that's on the road board that's like, okay, that's not what we asked for.
Well, but
So I
they
just want to
recommend,
make sure,
right?
yeah, they recommend. I mean, are we actually good relationship with the road board that's like, yeah,
Well,
we're all getting on the same
That was
page?
brought up that some of the council were confused about what our latest findings were with the road board. And what we had come up with, I mean, there was a discussion, it wasn't just everybody in agreement all at once, but with the funds we had, with Zach's help, decided that we could probably get a road base situation where we could build up what we have for the future, so that we wouldn't have to, when it comes time to do a chip seal, we wouldn't have to entirely tear that road apart and then rebuild it. So if we got that base down, when it comes time to do chip seal, that part would already be done. And that was within our budget, we thought, so.
And that's what the recommendation,
Yeah.
kind of consensus was, as I
Yeah.
understood it, was let's put rock base on all the roads. right, that need
Right.
it. Get that done with the $500,000 and then,
Yeah.
chip seal it after that. But according to what I understood about Plat 20, which plat?
Plat 20.
20, right? If we don't start doing repairs on Plat 20 now with the chip seal that's up there, it's gonna fall apart. So.
Yeah, that was brought up as well. Yeah.
Okay, because that's what I explained to
Yeah.
Jay Everett in our discussion, because he brought it up. And he just said, well, this is what we thought we were suggesting, and it kind of changed.
Right, that's the same. So that's what I just wanted to
Yeah,
clarify that we're on the same page.
So in order to save that chip seal, we need to do a maintenance layer now. We can't put
and,
that
and
off.
that's why 20 has become kind of a priority for
And
the
we
town.
put that in for our budget, right?
Yes.
So
Yes.
we're, okay.
Yes, yes.
20 was one of the priorities.
That's the
that we
only
set.
chip seal project in there for this
For
budget.
27.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
So my other question would be, like, if the road board is gonna go through and tell us the different types of, maintenance layers that should be put down, I'm assuming that will also then change the cost and possibly change how we're able to get through those 10 prioritized roads, that we're putting in our budget?
We already have the cost our cost estimates for all the roads. What we're talking about, Mike Altman taught a class recently to a bunch of civil engineers about how to rate roads. And there's several criteria, and there's a 1 through 5 category in all these criteria. So you rate each section of it 1 through 5, and then you come up with your aggregate number. And if your road's a 2.5, that's how it gets listed on your list of roads. And we'll do this annually. We'll rate all the roads. The road board will come out with Public Works, Zach and I, and we'll go through all the roads. We'll break up into teams, we'll rate them, however we're gonna do that, and we'll come up with the numbers for each road. So you can see, although this is an artery, it's a 4, that's really good shape, and this is not that, doesn't have that much traffic, but it's a 1, it's in terrible condition. So we'll put all that together based on the roads they prioritized from top to bottom. So we're evolving with the road boards. I think things are going really well with them. I'm very happy with the work they've done. We went from me and one other guy sitting up here in the dark and no one coming to meetings to now the road board is full, and they're making a lot of progress, and they're gonna get us a long ways in the future here.
And will that, when they gather the prioritization and everything, is that gonna change our top 10 that we're trying to,
No, not for the
for
budget.
this year that we're trying to budget for?
No,
Okay, so that list of the top 10 is set?
Yes.
Okay, so at what point are we going to discuss doing the Green Canyon Road? It seems to me that the residents that spoke with you were under the impression this was going to be addressed at some point. So I'm trying to see if we're going to put that in this budget, or something we need to discuss more as
So
the council.
So Trevor said, I believe in his update, that to put rock on it, at least to do something, in the near term, was gonna be $8,000. And we talked last time about getting a more detailed assessment, engineering assessment of that road, on what it would take to really fix the road, not just throw more road base on top of it all the time, or try and fill potholes. So for as far as the $8,000 go, is that something we will have and take out of this year's budget, or we could for road maintenance as far as that line item, or are we already exhausted? I should pull out mine.
no, we won't have the time to get to it
Do it
this
this
month.
year, yeah.
It will have to be next year.
Next year.
We can just take that out of roadside maintenance or something,
Yeah.
or things we
But
can do.
it's already in. If all you're doing is putting rock on, it's
Yes,
already
it's
there.
already there. So,
it's included in about the $100,000.
But
that we
Ryan
have
is gonna
for
give us some more
maintenance.
extensive.
That's,
Not
yeah,
right
that's-
It's at
Some point.
up Green Canyon?
that's why that road was not on the list, is because there are major problems there.
Yeah.
There's 3 water lines, one of them's only 18 inches deep. Some of the way that other groups did that road have caused us problems, and it's gonna take
Okay, that didn't get sent
we're
out.
looking at $200,000 to fix that road.
And I think that's what, Ryan had said earlier, so that, I think that's
You want me to
just
say
trying to figure out, because I know in our road maintenance situation that we had discussed that was 100 grand, it was from, I thought it was Vista East to Green Canyon. I didn't get the impression it was up Green Canyon.
It's gonna be a significant amount of money to fix some of the issues on Green Canyon. Small section of road, heavily traveled, understand that, but we can put some rock on it, that's a Band-Aid, that is not a fix.
Okay, so is that what we're going to do then with Green Canyon, is put the $8,000 worth into it?
it's about all you can
City
do.
Council, I didn't know what you guys, what your stance was on it.
I would like to see something, at least, I mean, I know that's a Band-Aid, but I would like to see something done on it. And if that's all we can do right now until we understand the full scope of what it's gonna take to repair it, I think we could manage to do that. I was just looking at the regular road maintenance row here. As I find it.
And I'm similar, like, I would like to know what it would cost, so that if we do get some of this grant money, or at least start putting Green Canyon in the budget in 28.
Yeah, well, so,
I mean, I know it's a long ways out, but.
on the grant, I mean, we'll know something by the end of the month, which will then change our calculus on a lot of things, right? Because,
We
If
hope.
it happens.
yes, if we were to get it, right? We don't want to, but,
That money is already going towards, I don't recall seeing Green Canyon in that budget, right, or for the grant. So even if we were to get it, are you thinking that that would allow us to address money towards Green Canyon? Is that why that was brought up?
So if we get this grant, it's everything from Vista north,
yeah.
everything.
That's what
Which
I thought.
includes
Big
Green.
cover.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry, I apologize, I didn't realize. I didn't recall it being just the Green Canyon net, and where it's so much more money, I didn't realize we would be allowed to just address it completely then with that, so that would be nice. Okay.
So where's roadside maintenance in the budget? I'm just trying to
There's
pull up how
several,
much there
there's
is,
several
yeah.
line items.
Mhm. Let's see, roads are Weed Spring, West Drive, Pitland Road Base.
We've already got it in there with the asphalt and rock portion for the 500,000.
Yeah, but we didn't specifically call out Green Canyon for the
No.
8,000, yeah. And that's just what the estimate was, I think, right, for the, to put rock on it. Okay. Fuel roads.
It is.
Roadside maintenance, there
Yeah,
it
there
is.
you go. And under operations expense.
Yeah, it's like 41,
Yeah, whether it's dust yard, road base, sand,
they're all broken out
coal
separately.
patch.
But roadside maintenance is like, got $41,000 in it.
Yeah, and altogether, it's about $100,000 of just typical repair and
Yeah.
maintenance stuff.
Okay. So are we good, Councilman Merrill?
This can also be addressed like after, if that's already in there, saying that we can spend that money on that. So I just want to make sure, because I know those people have come in and discussed it with you and Trevor, and I know that they were asking questions, so I just wanted to make sure that it was being addressed. So even if it's not like right now, if it's in the budget somewhere, we can like eventually get to it. I think that's good.
Okay. Now, I concur, because, you know, it's a local road, so as far as, you know, the traffic, but at the same time, it does access the trailhead, and we do have residents that live up there, even though it's not like one of, like Vista West East. We do need to do something with it to at least keep it passable until we can fix it for good. So, okay. All right, thank you. Travel and tourism, Mr. Bell's been waiting patiently.
You wait?
Yeah.
Told you my story about sleeping through public meetings.
Yes, you did good.
Thanks for making some time for us today. The Travel and Tourism Board met on Wednesday and brought 3 recommendations for your consideration tonight at your regularly scheduled meeting. I thought I'd go over those quickly right now in the event that there are questions. The first recommendation, these are not necessarily in any order as to old business or new business. The first recommendation, and I think you have the paperwork on this, is to approve some additional criteria for reviewing and administering lodging tax grant applications. Most of the criteria that have been presented to you are from the county's lodging tax travel and tourism board. You can find them on their website. I've changed the language slightly to protect the innocent, but most of those recommendations are the county's recommendations. And they kind of help clarify the grant process, what grants are for, how much money can be involved, that sort of thing. There are some additional criteria that I added that reflect we want the money to be spent locally and whenever possible, and that we want our logo or our acknowledgement on whatever marketing that the grant application involves. So that's in front of you tonight. Happy to talk about those in greater detail in a minute. We also have a grant application that we recommend approval from the Ranch Market in the amount of $10,300. That's so that the Ranch Market can operate here. It's an expanded market this year, somewhat expanded, and we also have it staffed this year with a manager that is overseeing the production of the market. And the third item brought forward, we have 2 board members whose terms expire at the end of June. Deb Stafford is currently our alternate board member, and Tyler Gomez is a voting member. I've talked to both of those folks and they would like to be reappointed. However, they'd like to switch places. Tyler is a young man and still works in a restaurant in Jackson. So he's traveling on the road quite a bit back and forth and his time is limited. He would like to become the alternate, and Deb Stafford has participated in almost all of our meetings, even as an alternate, and she would like to become the voting board member. And as I recall, the voting board members these are 4-year terms now. Originally, they were 2-year terms.
I think they're
and they go
3-year. I think they're 3.
Maybe they're 3. I don't remember, but that's what they would like to do. And we talked about it with the Travel and Tourism Board on Wednesday, and everybody seems to be fine with that approach. Additionally, at some future point in time, the board would like to talk to the council about its role and whether or not there's any interest in expanding the role of the Travel and Tourism Board to include certain issues related to economic development as they might arise. There used to be an economic development board that's gone away, and there may be issues slipping through the cracks. There's some sentiment on our board that we would be able to assume some of those responsibilities. It's my opinion that the way the board is currently set up is beyond the scope of economic development, other than what we do with the grant process. And so I think that ultimately that's council's decision as to whether or not they want to expand the role of the Travel and Tourism Board to include economic development issues as they arise.
Does anyone have any immediate thoughts on that? I probably need some time to mull it over.
Yeah, I don't think we're looking for
Yep.
any immediate resolution. The best resolution would be after my term expires.
Like it.
Okay. Well, I know we do have the board appointments in tonight's council meeting packet. I don't know if is the motion for the, I don't think we have the motion for the grant in there, but we can add it. Yeah, so we'll add a motion for the Ranch Market grant recommendation.
Okay.
And then, does the council, since Frank is here, have any questions about the grant? I know Councilman,
We had a quorum of the council at our
Yes,
meeting
yeah.
on
so I think they
On
probably have
Wednesday, so
the
there's
information they
probably
need
pretty
from
good.
that.
probably pretty good understanding of it.
Okay. Okay,
I think the criteria is critical to be able to say, we're going to accept grants between 500 and 10,000.
yeah,
Because again, setting those parameters, if it's wide open, we'll have the disconnect that we had this year with the Walnut Hills as an example.
Right.
So, and it lets the applicants know as well,
yes.
so.
Is there ability to go above 10 or?
The
That's
quantity is
kind of-
about
I had
it.
some ability in my language when I first proposed it to the board. We talked about it on Wednesday, and they really wanted the $10,000 to be a firm ceiling.
Gotcha.
And the county feels pretty much the same way, I think.
Okay. So I read through all of the proposed funding guidelines, and I thought they would all be really
Yes.
good improvements to the process. Could we get the Travel and Tourism Board to revise the application going forward? Because I think some of this probably needs to go.
Yeah, what we
in
would
that.
probably do is create a addendum to the current application.
Okay.
I've tried to match them both to make sure there aren't any conflicts.
Okay.
And I don't think
Great.
there are, but I could have missed something.
Okay.
So I think what we'd actually do is just create a sheet of addendum that talks about approval guidelines.
Okay. So does anyone on the council have any concern with us incorporating these funding guidelines right now? Because the sooner we can
What I
do
didn't
that.
want to do is have to change the ordinance.
Right.
Because if you want to have another criteria or take one away or something like that, then you don't have to go through the public hearing process. And, it's much easier as a policy document than it
Right.
is as a legal document.
Absolutely. So that way we could go ahead and get that addendum to the application that we could get online so that it's, if anybody else comes out this year
Right.
wanting to get a
I'm
grant.
guessing that if we get any other applications this year, they'll be small.
Yeah.
So this is a good time to get it done.
Okay.
Have
And
you had any-
I'm happy, I will be at the evening meeting tonight to introduce those items.
Okay.
Have you had anything besides the Ranch Rhino Group?
I'm sorry?
Have you had any other applicants?
No, just the three that we've done. And admittedly, we spent a fair amount of money this year because the Wall That Heals is a one-time event. We'll get that out of the way, and I think our budget will be a little more stable going forward. And we'll be with these guidelines in place as well.
Yeah. It's the Friends of Bridger Teton as well as then the market, the ranch market. Those are the three big ones. And, it's just understanding the success of those and how that money, let's make sure that the money is spent.
Right.
in
And I
a
think after
positive way.
this year, over the course of the winter, we'll reexamine the Friends of the Teton, the ambassador program on the trails. The program's been fine-tuned quite a bit this year from the inaugural year, which was last year. We're going to see how it goes this year, but we're not going to be shy about perhaps reducing the impact of those grants if we don't feel like we're getting sufficient bang for our buck out of that.
Right.
And I'm sort of personally beginning to feel that way, so we may steer that direction over the course of the winter.
And it's a pretty big shift from how they're approaching it this year with the focus being on us here, not split, and sort of secondary to what they were trying to do at Grover Park. So
Right.
I'm very interested to hear how it goes and what the value
And
is
I
out
think
of
the
it.
other thing that we need to be careful of is not to become an ATM for
Oh.
nonprofits.
Absolutely, yeah.
And that we become taken for granted. I think these folks have to understand the meaning of a grant and that we don't have a lot of money, so we really expect a big bang for our buck.
And we did talk about the communication between them and the town, and they're going to provide like a weekly email,
Yeah,
an update each week.
They now have
Well, I've been in contact
Yes.
with them as I was this morning, and they do have the one ambassador that's here now that met with Craig Adler. There's a meeting again. I'm probably going to meet her on Saturday. They're going to put another ambassador who's coming in. Her name is Kay. I can't remember the last name, but she'll be here on the 15th. So there'll be 2 ambassadors. They're going to bring in 2 interns, which are non-paying jobs, but it sounds like they are going to do quite a bit with education, data collection on the trails. They've also put together some pamphlets that they're going to hand out at a booth. They do have booth supplies that are set up that will be stored down at the dog run. And we'll be able to put some of the pamphlets in the office on educational aspects of trails and whatnot. So we'll see. But we are, yes, as Frank mentioned, we are really trying to make sure that we're going to get the bang for our buck.
The
Yeah.
other good news is that Friends of the Bridger Teton now has a program manager for this grant who lives in Alpine. So it's not Jennifer, and she's not schlepping back and forth from
Pinedale.
Pinedale
Yeah.
to do this stuff. She's local and is here all the time, so, and it's what she does.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions for Mr. Bell? Okay, great, thank you. All right, Water Utility Board did not meet since our last meeting. So let's take a quick look at the regular agenda items, and we're gonna have one addition. We've got a number of things going on tonight, so we've got the upfront, call to order pledge, reconvene meeting, adopt agenda. Then we have a number of things under announcements and proclamations, so we're gonna have our Ride for the Brand Award for Carol Woodward. We do have the Lincoln County Chief of Staff, Stephen Allen, is gonna be here to give an annual kind of update. And then also, if the council has any items you want to bring up with him, that will be the opportunity to do that tonight too. Then we also have the Star Valley Health CEO, Dan Ordina, is gonna be here to talk about EMS. And I guess that's probably one thing, I'm gonna circle back to that when we get to matters from the mayor and council that I forgot to update everyone on, and why he's coming here tonight to talk to us. Public comment, we have the consent agenda, we've got the administrator's report and any board reports. So I'm just gonna ask the council members to provide any updates from your boards that you would like to during that period of the agenda. We don't have any public hearings and action items under resolutions. We have both of the fee schedules and also the clean air resolution. And then we're gonna add a motion for the council to consider the grant for the ranch market. Councilman Merrill, are you gonna be participating in person or by Zoom tonight?
I'll be via Zoom.
Okay, all right. Gonna probably ask you to recuse yourself from the vote on the motion for the ranch market.
I didn't actually put in the request for the,
It was put in by Debbie, is that right?
what was that?
I'm sorry, did Debbie Compton just put it in as the manager?
Oh, it was, I put it, actually, her and I together, we put it under Star Valley Ranch, the town of, because the funds go through the town of Star Valley Ranch. They don't come to me in any way. And when I asked Alpine, they said that the town actually requests the grant because it's for the town. That's why the grant was a little confusing, because Loretta had originally told me that as of like last year, we didn't put the grant through, because it's basically the town asking for the money, and it belongs to the town technically, even though it's the tourism board funding. So that's how Loretta explained it to me, but then it was very insistent from the travel and tourism board that the only way now that they're releasing the money is through a grant. So I wrote it on behalf with Debbie's assistance from the town of Star Valley Ranch, because it wasn't me requesting the money, it's not her requesting the money, it belongs to the town of Star Valley Ranch.
So I think I'm really confused now, because that,
Yes, I agree. I was under the assumption that they could just bill it like they did last year. But then after talking to Alpine, they said they do put the grant through the tourism board, like filling out the paperwork and everything, but they put it from the town of Star Valley Ranch. That's why on the grant, it says that at the bottom, the requesting is the town of Star Valley Ranch.
Okay, I don't,
So basically, the ranch is saying, hey, we've got this money in reserve, basically for tourism, travel and tourism items. And
But we didn't request it.
did your travel and tourism board request it? I guess is how,
well, did they understand that too,
because then
Councilman
the
Merrill?
application comes in.
I mean, it does, I'm looking at the application, it does say sponsoring or producing entity, Town of Star Valley Ranch, so I do see that. But,
So when I met with them with Debbie, and I apologize, I think it was in April, either March or April, not their last meeting, the meeting before. They were saying that they needed one, but I explained to them, hey, I talked with Loretta, she was under the impression we could just bill it how it was done before, which is basically an invoice from the manager, and any additional costs were just invoiced to the town. Well, after, all trying to go get other sponsorship and such, and then I spoke with Alpine, the way they do their market, they were saying that, well, they put it through, but they put it through as from the town, because no one person is receiving the money, and the town is requesting it from the tourism board to pay for the event. So that's how I proceeded. I don't know who would be requesting the funds, because we have somebody managing it, but they're not needing all those funds, they're not wanting the whole grant.
But they will get paid.
Well, they do, but they don't get all the funds either.
No, there's still a payment being made here to an individual.
And then that is invoiced, and that's why last year it did seem like it was easy enough, because she sent in an invoice if there was any additional cost for signage or anything, that was also sent in. But I also understand the tourism stance, they're like, well, we're trying to do this through a grant. And so after I spoke with Alpine and they also did it, I thought that would be easiest. But if they're requiring
Legal question.
the grant application filled out.
Legal question. Can the town request money from itself for an outside entity?
That was my question and Loretta's question, so I'm just trying to,
well, and I will say that when I saw the application, and then there were some initial questions from the Travel and Tourism Board, and also some other questions about, like, some of the information on the application as far as the percentage of the project and the funding requested.
I clarified that
Yeah.
at the last meeting, and then also in an email.
No, I know that, but I'm just saying, was there an updated application at all submitted? I saw the information from yesterday.
I was told by Frank Bell and then also Loretta that I didn't need to send in a new one, even though I was happy to do that, to change that one number. I think I had confusion, it was asking questions about the sponsorship from other entities, and it went into question percentage, and I think I just got the numbers reversed, because obviously the town tourism board, it would be covering most of the cost.
And I will confess that when I reviewed the application, I did not notice, I assumed that it was going to be the nonprofit you set up last year that was running it. I did not notice that it said sponsoring entity was Town of Star Valley Ranch, so.
Nonprofit never ran it last year, actually.
Well, right,
That was-
because of the situation. That's why I was asking you about recusing yourself tonight, because I was assuming it was the same situation, but it is not. So, I'm just.
Yeah, so I think that I tried to explain in the meeting with the tourism board last week that I don't own this, I try to do it as a nonprofit, which has a board and everything, but then the town felt that that was some type of issue, so I just rescinded that application. This application is due, and then last year, there was never another grant application put through. And the manager and any other costs were all invoiced to the town, which I believe Loretta spoke with you, Mayor, and it seemed like that was fine and approved. So then this year, and I understand the tourism board was like, hey, we're allowing funds to be funneled through our grant, so we do need an application. I tried to make sure that I got sponsorship for as much as I could in the last 2.5 months, but this was the amount that after the tourism board asked us to, check as far as cost and everything. So we took it down. I think the original request was like 14. And so we got it down to 10. And then, I understand they needed the grant application, so that's the way I proceed to fill it out after asking Alpine how they do theirs for their grant money. And I would also let the council know if they didn't listen to the tourism meeting that the Alpine Farmers Market, I think I was told it was like $25,000 this last year that they're funding for their tourism board. So, I feel like for what we are having and what we get out of it as a community, I think that the amount is a good amount. And so that's, the other reason going through the tourism board, that way it's not in the budget of the town either, taking away from anything else that our town might need.
All right, well, I think we'll have to figure this out. I'm just reading how the grant application is written and what our parameters and things are. And I know we made it work last year. And I think we'll figure out a way to make it work this year. But just not sure that this is the right way to have done it. And I'm not saying that to you, Councilman Brown, I'm just saying in general.
Oh, I agree.
And
Yeah.
obviously, if Alpine is doing something like this, but again, it seems a little around the circle here.
Yeah, okay. All right.
It worked well last year when an invoice was sent in, it was just paid. And I think also though with the grant, it was good that the tourism board was seeing then, like where the money was spent and everything, and they asked us to lower it. I thought that was good if they don't want to proceed with what we were, the Star Valley Ranch Farmers Market was requesting. Like, that was a good way for everybody to be in discussion with it, but as far as the actual application, I agree. It probably isn't the best way, but like, nobody is receiving those funds. I personally am not. The management, isn't until she puts through an invoice, because they don't pay until they don't pay everything up front. It has to.
It's reimbursement,
via reimbursement and invoices that are sent in, so. But I don't know if there's a better way with the tourism board, just because I think they do need to see how much is being put out, because I don't think that was really looked at last year, how much was put out and such, so.
Well, any expenses hit our budget line items. So we see them, I mean, you
To
can
the
go
fact,
into
so
the
I guess
detail.
what I meant.
But
So, Councilman Merrill, was there any sort of, I guess no, I don't need to answer that or ask that question because there wasn't a grant application last year because of how we did it. So.
It was rescinded.
Yeah. All right, council, so what are your thoughts on this? Should we, I'm struggling with us doing a motion to approve funding for ourselves tonight. I mean, that seems ridiculous. So do we want to agree that we will essentially proceed the way we did last year? But I think we probably need some more. I do think that there should be, at the end of the season, probably sort of a final report out to the Travel and Tourism Board or the council or something about how it went, how much money was spent, et cetera, et cetera. I mean,
I agree. I would also just add that before, like, as far as I know, and Loretta can clarify this too, but it was reimbursement. So it was almost weekly, I think, that either the manager or like for different things that were needed was also being, like, the checks and everything, the invoices were being paid like either every other week or weekly. And normally, I would think like bringing that forth to the tourism board would be good, but obviously they're not meeting weekly, so I don't know if it's even like every 2 months that amount can be brought to them if we're not doing the grant application. Or maybe they just approve it in a different way, I don't know, but I just think that, because last year I was fine doing it the way we did, and we weren't excessive, I think we were like at $6,000 last year. But at least then the tourism board or somebody would be seeing those as Loretta's having to approve them. And she did a good job of approving it. I mean, when an invoice comes in, she's paying them, but I just felt like that way it wouldn't be like money isn't being seen where it's going by like the tourism board, which is who actually should be handling that money or, you know, allocating it.
So council, what are your thoughts?
Well, I mean, again, I don't believe, Councilman Merrill explained it in a slightly not as long as this today in the travel and tourism meeting. I don't think they captured the concept of this as the town giving the town itself.
Or using
you know,
this money,
appropriated
its own
funds
money to do
for
this.
this. I don't, because nobody ever asked the question,
Yeah.
and I didn't catch it, because if I would have brought it up. Well, what are we doing? Why is this? I just want to make sure it's correct.
And I'm just gonna reiterate, I did not see that it said the sponsor was the town.
Yeah.
I assumed that the sponsor was gonna be the nonprofit that Councilman Merrill had set up last year that did not end up getting a grant for, that application was pulled, so. Okay, go ahead.
So,
The other issue is I keep hearing the term, the town has requested this. I don't know that the town has requested it. We have not
Well-
officially requested the market for this year.
So that's what I guess I'm asking, like, how would you like it to proceed then? Do you have any ideas?
So,
if it wasn't in the town's name, I'd be totally on board, right? I mean, because again, somebody is requesting it as a grant application in their name, and we're reimbursing them for expenses submitted. That's the way we did it last year, it'd be totally fine this year. The question is why are we changing that now? I mean, why do we have to change it? Why can't we go back to the way we were? That's just
well, and it may make more sense to just go back to how we did it last year.
Well, that's what I'm
without
asking.
having a nonprofit requesting money.
correct.
And then it simply, maybe not simply, but then it becomes an event the town is sponsoring that has expenses
Yes.
that come out of lodging tax. So the Travel and Tourism Board,
We're reimbursing those.
going forward on this particular project, where it's something the town is sponsoring that is going to use lodging tax money, would still need to have some sort of plan and approve it. I mean, I think there has to be some sort of something like that, right? And I think we're all still kind of wrapping our heads around how we work through spending lodging tax money when we have such constraints on how it can be spent.
Under
This
state
is the
law,
one that does go towards the town, is the farmer's market. Like, so in other cities, if it's not sponsored by an individual, like MC or that sort, like through a nonprofit, then it is an event that is of the town. So I guess that is also a deciding factor. I mean, the tourism board doesn't have much that it's spending for our actual town. This was the only thing that I know of last year besides what they gave to the HOA that they did. So, for the town and tourism that is coming in. So I would also say, like, we have to be careful when we're trying to figure this out, like, that our tourism board is paying for things that are contributing to our town as well. And this is one of them. I don't know that we have a ton of other things that they are using those funds for. And I know those also are, you know, there's rules and state statutes around that, so,
Yeah, I was thinking more about, and as far as not the event itself and whether or not it fits into the lodging tax bucket, but how we manage and have oversight of expenditures and funds from that particular budget item, that's all. So that's where I still see the Travel and Tourism Board's role.
They could do that.
There's,
Yeah, they could do it.
under the law, there's generally 10% that can be used for administration and that type of thing by the town. The remaining 90%, can a town request money to cover an expense of the town? That I don't remember looking up to the state law.
I'll have to look at it, but
Well, there's,
Sorry, are you talking?
there's
What do you-
promotion, mitigation, and admin.
Right.
Those are the three. So admin, you're wondering, yeah, okay.
well, no, but it's, I
What
think,
administration are you just, can you clarify that? I just didn't know what you were talking about.
Who, me?
You're saying administration of what?
There's three categories of spend that the travel and tourism has to keep track of. 60% of their spending is for promotional spending, 30% is for mitigation spending, and the last 10% is for administration. The question becomes, yeah,
Yeah.
if the town is doing this for themselves, how is it promotion? I still think it's promotion.
Okay.
I think so too.
Can the town use its money to promote itself?
Itself. And I
I think so.
think it makes sense that they would.
So, like, isn't that the whole point?
Yeah, like a
The
car
tour-
show in Alpine or, other things.
Yeah, but the question, yeah,
The question becomes, how do you audit and make sure that the traffic of funds is properly audited and
Well,
approved?
is promoting the town.
Yes. I don't think I wouldn't argue that this isn't, because it's promoting the town. The question is how should that funds cycle go?
but it's not promoting the town, it's promoting an event that happens to take place in the town.
Well, back to your original point, has the town ever said the ranch market is the town's event? That's what you were saying earlier. I get it. I can't tell you whether we've ever done that or not.
So,
So if we adopted the town, or the market ranch as ours, then
Yeah.
we can move forward. Huh. Okay. Clear as mud.
Yeah.
Like, find more information through, other towns. I know that other towns, for the most part, this is how it's funded, through the town. And either their tourism board or maybe they allocate a certain amount of funds contributed to it. I can find that out and find the easiest way for us to go about it, if that helps. As far as it being someone's event, it's, as I explained it in the tourism board, I don't own it. It was to promote something in our town that I really think truly needs to belong to our town. The community seems to enjoy it. It brings our community together. It also promotes our town in the fact that, yes, it's an event within the town, but it is promoting people to come to our town to actually visit this event. So I think as far as tourism board, it is totally covered. If you want, I can legally figure it out. We can ask our lawyer, do all of the things. I'm happy to do that if there is a struggle about just paying for it through the town. But this shouldn't be an individual having to pay for it like it was first 2 years. So that's why I'm happy to establish how other towns are doing it so that we as a town can do it. And then if this council doesn't want to have it, then they can vote it that way too. I can figure out a way to vote that as well so that if you have certain people on the council that don't want it, then the town, the citizens will see us vote on it and understand the situation that way too.
I think
So whatever you guys think is best.
I think as long as all of the marketing materials that the marketing manager is sending out is on behalf of the town of Star Valley
Yes.
Ranch, then it's legitimate and legally,
Yeah.
tied to the town, which means, yeah, the appropriations of funds could be done.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's is happening, right,
Yes.
Kirsten, in your mind? Right.
is except for the amount that the town didn't want to pay for, and then that has to find sponsorship, and obviously that will also have other.
So co-sponsors, but we're not paying for the co-sponsor piece, that's
Yeah.
somebody else. But
Yeah, I mean, that, and that is something that
Makes
also
sense.
we considered, if the town wants, certain things for this, then co-sponsorship was something that I looked into, because, the tourism board was questioning some of the payment, and so, or some of the invoice requests, and so that's why I also, was trying to find other people to pay for things. So, I mean, I don't know if that is for the town, if they're like, we don't want to share that, then I'm happy to put the invoice request just to the town too. So, and when I say I am trying to help with this, our manager is doing a good job. At some point, the tourism board maybe needs to take over some of it as well if they want to make these bigger, or the town wants us to make these bigger decisions. It would be hopefully the tourism board that would make these decisions and do such. But I will be honest, last year we didn't, Vince has been awesome and always showing up and helping us set up, but outside of that, we didn't have much contribution from the tourism board or volunteers or anything of that sort, except for the ones that we've kind of had for the last 3 years. And this being our 4th year, it's like, it's kind of set in stone who the volunteers are. And so if the tourism board wants to contribute more to that, I'm totally open. I don't think that the manager is against anybody helping, so yeah. So, but last year we didn't really get that, except through Vince, and then this year, no one's come forward to say, hey, I'm gonna contribute and take this over either, so, but if the town wants to take that on as well, I would assume it would be more in the tourism area than, like the board's area.
All right, so I think, this is what I'm gonna put forward. I don't think we need to do a motion and do that through this grant. I think we should proceed the way we did it last year with invoices and reimbursement. We know what the amount is already, and those of you that were at the tourism board meeting, to include TNT board folks, heard what the proposal was. And so I think we're okay with all that. I think what we need to do as we go along and for the future is bound this better with how it's going to be handled within the travel and tourism board, how it's going to be handled as far as the disbursement of funds and all that kind of stuff. So I don't, and we can also look at, statutorily, I think we're fine. I think the town using lodging tax money to sponsor an event is okay. I was looking at Alpine's grant, and their committee says they accept grants, applications from nonprofits, municipalities, et cetera, et cetera. So, but we probably should just run all that to ground. But for now, let's just proceed, and I'll talk to Loretta after this meeting. Again, I just find us doing a motion to fund ourselves seems kind of redundant. So, is that all right, Councilman Merrill? Does that make sense for now? And we'll kind of nail down the details.
Sounds great, thank you.
All right, very good. Okay, finishing up on the agenda, we have, after the resolutions, then we have ordinances, the second reading of the land usage one, which I think we're going to be tabling that again. That's the septic one, that's 2026-04. Third reading of budget, we're going to do that one. Then 2026-07, that is the water board alternate member, there's no change there. And then the new ordinance that's on here, 2026-06, is the fence ordinance, so we're gonna need to table that one again, okay? And that is that. So, I'm sorry, that was a little drawn out, but I'm glad we went through all that. All right, moving on, let's go to matters from the mayor and council. Councilman Bitter, anything to add?
Nothing at this time.
Okay, Councilman Merrill, anything to add?
I had a couple of questions, so it sounds like you were gonna go over more with the EMS
Yes.
service.
I will do that.
But I did have a question regarding I think it was the sheriff. We had some questions I had a few questions from citizens regarding what that would entail as far as the contract for that, if it was moving forward or if we were staying where we were at.
Okay, town administrator and I did meet with the sheriff a couple of weeks ago, or fairly recently, might have been right before I went on my little time off, and our contract expires with the sheriff, I'll tell you, I want to say it's like at the end of this year. So we are going to need to renew that. Did the sheriff, was he going to provide us a new, he didn't really talk to us about needing additional funding.
No, he just, his main thing was the last one was signed by Mayor Dwyer, so we would like the current mayor to sign it, but no real changes is what I got out of it.
Yeah, I mean, I know we budgeted for a little extra in case we were expecting something, but, oh, sorry, I probably shouldn't have said that out loud.
Just in case we need it.
The one thing that the sheriff also brought up was, if there were changes that the town, we're gonna need to do a new agreement. So if there were any additional changes that we wanted to incorporate, to let him know that. And, we talked a little bit about traffic enforcement and speeding and those sorts of things. And, we could ask for a little more focus on that, along with anything else we'd like to try and work in, so. There must have been
So we add another SMO, is this gonna be, just for the summer like we did before? Or is this gonna be a permanent position?
So we'd like to try and get someone at least through the summer, but I think the council should probably consider, do we need to add another full-time person? I don't know what our current SMO's projection is for retirement or anything like that. So it's probably a subject, I mean, I think I probably shouldn't have assumed everyone would be okay with us hiring a temporary through the summer like we did last year, but it seemed to help, I think. So Trevor's actively looking for that position. If we could get someone, like a secondary one, to have two, that's something we probably should consider going forward.
Okay. I kind of wonder how everyone would feel about if we did hire another permanent SMO, if that would impact like what we want to give for the sheriff contract.
Right.
Like it going into the future if they're looking, because I know I was under the impression he was thinking of increasing it, and that's why we were having the discussion already, but I wasn't sure, and that would also then impact how we go forward with another SMO. If we're increasing with the sheriff's contract, are we getting more out of that increase in payment? So then do we want to fund an extra SMO yearly or just during the summer and such?
All right, so our agreement, I finally found the date, but the sheriff does end at the end of the calendar year. So that's halfway through our budget year too.
So
Um,
the responsibilities are separate.
Yeah.
What our SMO does versus what the sheriff's office does.
there is that, true, yeah.
So it wouldn't
I
directly.
understand that. It's just also like with public safety, like how much are we contributing? And we just want to make sure it's going in the right place. So if we would get more out of having an SMO, I understand that they do different things, but we get more out of having another SMO, just seeing where those funds would be allocated if then the sheriff is asking for more as well, like kind of trying to figure out where the money would do best for our town.
So for our next work session, can you add a sheriff's contract SMO discussion item so we can kind of winnow through that some more?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, and Councilman Tolson, do you have a copy of the current sheriff's agreement? If not, I'll email it to you. You might not, because it was prior to your term. Okay, I'll send that to you. Okay, all right, thank you, Councilman. We'll add that as something we can beat up some more at our next work session. Do you have anything else?
Oh, I was just wondering if we had sent an invoice and the amount to the contractor for the annexation fees that we had accumulated.
Yes, he has received or been sent the invoice, which was just under $15,000, I believe. So.
Have we gotten a response at all?
He had a few questions I answered. I provided more information. He And I don't kill the messenger here, he just wanted to have a conversation. I said, I'll talk to you about anything, but he brought up the 90-degree corner on Vista West about possibly doing some kind of land swap in exchange for the bill. And my question was, what are your thoughts here? Is this gonna cancel the bill? And he said he wanted to know how the council felt, which is not how this thing works. So I need to know from him what his thoughts are before I'm gonna present that to you. But he had some questions. He was gonna talk to his engineers about our engineering bill, and I haven't had a follow-up conversation. This is about a week ago, so he's not paid anything, but.
Okay, thank you. So wait, our engineer was the same as his engineer though, right?
No.
Ryan, that'd be a complete conflict
Yeah,
there.
so-
He had Sunrise
He
Engineering.
uses Sunrise Engineering, and ours, we have Ryan from Forest Grant. I think his engineer's name was also Ryan, or is that?
Yeah, same
That's-
person.
Yeah, which is kind of confusing.
But we received bills from Fosgren regarding the annexation.
Right, and that is part of the bill that went to
Part of the
Mr. Rice.
difference.
Yes.
That's what I
$15,000.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where the confusion was. Okay,
All
just
right.
change.
Yeah, so we'll, if he comes back with, additional thoughts on, providing land to the town as some sort of partial or full compensation, then that will be brought to the council for you to decide if that's something you even want to entertain. Otherwise, it's a bill that needs to get paid. So,
Thank you.
okay, anything else? Councilman Merrill? No?
No, I think that was it.
All right, Councilman Tolson, anything?
Just one positive thing. Jay Conley, the gentleman that's kind of in charge of the Wall at Heels, called me the other day and said, just want to confirm that at 2:50-ish, the wall should be traveling by Star Valley Ranch.
On July the 7th.
July
Seventh.
7th, it should be leaving Alpine at 2:30.
250.
So I think it'd be really cool to have, and I'll mention that to the HOA too, but they may already know. But I think it'd be cool to,
And they
I don't
are,
know, do something.
We were actually just talking about it the other day. I think Trevor was gonna reach out to the RV park to see if maybe we could put flags all down the fence line. So we have flags obviously that we use here, but maybe we could put them on the fence line. And to then send out, email and put some notices up so that hopefully people could be standing there,
Yeah.
out there, as it goes by.
they are still looking for about 150
Volunteers,
volunteers.
really?
So anybody that wants to volunteer for a short shift,
Have we, is that kind of, do we have that yet on our website? Like anything to attach to just say, or like in the newsletter, to
Yes,
just
we've
highlight?
got been a letter and on
Like a link
website,
to show
and a
their
link to how they can
volunteers.
volunteer and get a hold of people that are involved.
And we'll definitely put something in an email about it, maybe a couple of times between now and the 7th, just to, this is coming, and if you're looking for volunteers, maybe that would help too. Plus to let people know, it'd be nice if you'd go out and, pay some respect as it comes by. So,
Yeah.
okay, anything else?
I'll take it.
Okay, Councilman Ellis.
Yeah, two things. One, I had a resident ask me why the grass in the dog park has not been mowed. Or are we going to be mowing it this year, or what's the story on that? And
We have not been able, with the projects we have, to get to everything. That's
Okay.
why.
Okay.
Okay, and along with that, they've said that in the past, the town had given them some money for things to be used at the dog park. Not a whole lot, like $500-600 or something.
It's in the budget.
It's in the budget?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yep.
The last item I have is when the board submits information to the town in terms of what they would like to see happening, how does that get distributed to the council members?
So typically when I get something, I will forward it on. If there's something that's been provided to me to do that and I haven't, then that's just on me.
No, because I was just looking at the, oh, come on, come up, computer. I was looking at the last one from the roads board with the rating scale. And it was sent in the town to the clerk, myself, administration, and that was it. And I don't think it went out to anybody else. Do I forward it? Does the clerk forward it? Or
I think
how does that happen?
what I'd like is, I think that it should come in, to the clerk and to me and to the town administrator. So that way, everybody's got visibility, and then it can get sent out by either the clerk or myself.
Okay.
Do you want approval, like, do I just send it to the town council, or do I wait for approval from anyone before I send that out? With anything that comes from the board?
I guess it would depend on what it is. Because if it's a recommendation memo, then obviously the council needs to get it. I mean, I guess if it's information that's going to be useful for everyone, then we should probably just forward it on. So like, when you mentioned that earlier, I was like,
I think we use the
I
judge.
don't remember seeing it because it didn't come to us.
Yeah, that's
or to
because
me.
you
Yeah.
didn't see it. I just dawned on me, 'cause
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't see it.
So I think that way, if we keep the
It wasn't
clerk
sent to
and
you.
myself involved in it, then we can make sure things get
yeah,
distributed out.
it was sent to all the roads board members,
Okay.
and then in the town, just myself, administration, and the clerk.
Yeah, so the chairman should really send those things to the clerk and and to the liaison, also to myself and the administrator. That way, we can make sure things get filtered or then pushed out as they need to get pushed out. But this is another project on the list, is to have a board member handbook, so that there's some procedures in there and everybody kind of knows what we should be doing. Okay.
There it is.
Anything else, Councilman Ellis?
No, that's
Okay,
it.
I'm going to quickly just go over the EMS topic, since I forgot to add that as a discrete item. So I think everyone may be aware, or maybe not, but when the Lincoln County Commission met on, I don't know, it was toward the end of last month, it was before Memorial Day, they were voting on establishing the EMS special district.
They voted no.
And they voted no. So not to establish the district, and the rationale was they felt that something like that should be brought forward by the voters, because the commissioners didn't want to be the ones appointing the board and being, essentially it being put on them, versus if it is brought forward, just like the Mid-Valley Fire District was brought forward, then the people get it on the ballot, and then you get to elect your board members for the special district. So, as a follow-on to that, there was a meeting with the towns and Star Valley Health and, representatives, actually the chief of staff from the county, about, okay, now what? The county, or the hospital, and this is what the CEO is going to bring up tonight.
I'll be back.
No problem. They're still running at a shortfall of about $1.7 million annually to fund EMS, right? And it's really quiet out there.
Bring it on.
Yeah, so I forwarded the one pager to the council that Star Valley Health had provided sort of as a summary out of the meeting. And they were just looking for, now what do we do? They can't sustain it, yet at the same time, people don't seem to want a reduction in service, but how do you pay for it? So a proposal was put forward that between, like, for the time being, in the next year or so, until, because it's going to take some time if enough people get together to try and get it on the ballot, just like Mid-Valley Fire, right? That's a whole petition process. It's not happening overnight. Then there's also the federal rural health care transformation program funding, which is $205 million per year for the next 5 years for Wyoming, that's supposed to support rural health care and things like EMS. But we don't know exactly when and how that money is going to funnel to Star Valley and support EMS. So there has to be something in the interim. And so the proposal was, what if the towns and the county provided funding on a per capita basis to help offset the $1.7 million annual shortfall? And then when you do the math, and I give Joe Hayward credit for doing really fast back of the napkin math, it came out to $9 and something per person per month, or $114 a year per person. So when you then calculate that for a population of 2,000 people in Star Valley Ranch, it's about what we're paying to Mid-Valley Fire, over $200,000 a year. Right now, we're paying $33,000 for our ambulance.
33,000.
Yeah.
Correct.
So that would be quite an increase. But the biggest thing there is that the county's share of that would be over $1 million, because most people live in the county. And so the chief of staff was going to take that question back to the county commissioners.
So how do they get that funding from? The county would then pay? Like all the people from Etna to Alpine, they're not in any of those communities.
So the county would be paying for all those people that are in the county that, yeah. So other than Alpine, us and Thane and Acton.
Okay.
So anyway, I assume that's what the CEO is going to talk to us about, is that proposal and any others they've come up with. Because all the, mayors and town administrators that were there were like, you understand, everybody's approving their budget by the end of this month.
Yeah.
It's,
Well, the downside is, they're not gonna put an ambulance any closer to Star Valley Ranch, and because of our population, we're gonna pay the highest percentage of the whole lower valley.
yeah.
And so you're sitting there and you're going, our times are gonna be exactly the same. We're not getting any special services. So,
Right. They did also bring up possible in-kind contributions, like could we provide a place to house an ambulance? Could we provide a place for EMTs to stay? We don't have any lodging, but, so yeah, it's just trying to figure out how to prop this up until a better solution comes along, but.
Mayor, would
Yes.
that include what the county already pays through our taxes and everything? That million plus, whatever the number winds up being, does that amount include what we're already paying to the Star Valley Health EMS, or would that not include that?
So
Do we know yet?
are you referring to the North Lincoln County Hospital District, that already is a special district funding, or, I don't know what the county currently pays to EMS.
I think this just makes up that $1.7 million deficit.
Yeah.
$114 per
All
person.
would include.
Yeah.
Is it possible for us to get from the EMS, their budget and such? I can't imagine they haven't also given the numbers on how many of those patients that they're transporting and giving care to, how many of those actually go to Star Valley Health, and then the funding that also is contributed there. And I'll ask him tonight as well, but I just didn't know if those numbers were made available to us.
We've requested it, and I haven't received anything. It's been a while since those
Yeah.
numbers have been asked for.
We got some preliminary information, gosh, many, many months ago, where they provided some budget info. Not in it was more like in tables, right? We're only able to
From
build.
like 2000.
Yeah, it was from a while
It was
ago.
from a while ago, okay.
Yeah. So, so the number we're doing now is $1.7 million deficit. And so again, this was just an idea on one way you could get after that, but I do hear for all of us, what's behind the $1.7 million loss?
That's my question.
Yeah.
It's only because Bud, the fire EMS director, and the deficit seemed different, and what they were billing out per patient seemed different than the numbers that we had seen. So I just want to make sure that, I'm sure everybody could use $1.2 million, but our EMS department is very important. So I just want to make sure that we're not just charging our citizens $200,000 a year for an additional, for this service without additionals, like Wade said. And then also, is this really going to cover the care that is needed, or is it overextending into possibly just the Star Valley Health Department too? So just having those numbers would be really helpful for me to determine what would benefit our citizens the most.
And I'm certainly not proposing that our town should jump right in with providing more money. Absolutely not. I also, because quite frankly, if the county isn't willing to do that as well on a per capita basis, why would we do it? And I understand that EMS is a very important topic, and a lot of our residents care a lot about it, but I think we need to know all the facts before we embark on something like that, so.
I would like to make a comment about this. On May 19th, my husband fell, broke his hip. EMS came from Alpine to here. We are the cutoff for Alpine's ambulance. Anything else from Thane goes up that. They cover that area of the valley. My husband was transported to the Alpine emergency, but from there he was transported to Jackson. it's up to the patient whether they go south or north or west. So I don't know how the money is distributed from the ambulance service that we received. And so these are some questions you might want to ask the CEO down there. I don't know how they distribute the money. They did the service, but I don't know where their money was going to go because they transported twice.
Yeah, I don't know what
So
the
they-
agreements
so-
are.
So that could be a question that's, to the CEO here that's coming, because EMS service is really important. I mean, we used it just 2 weeks ago, and, but the decision for transport is up to the patient. It's not up to the hospital, it's up to the patient.
Is Roger doing okay?
Yes, he's walking around like
Okay.
he never even hurt himself.
All right.
The man's crazy.
All right, thank you.
Yeah.
All right, that's all I have. Any safe rounds? All right, could I get a motion to recess the meeting until 7 PM tonight?
I move we recess this meeting till 7 PM today.
All right, I have a motion to recess from Councilman Ellis. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Bitter. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, we are recessed until